that you steps and tools you can put in place today and to either help yourself to get to that next level or share with somebody who's going through something. So Dr. Bob, over to you.
All right. Well, thank you, thank you, thank you always. So far, this has been my best speaker and my favorite speaker, my favorite session, my most valuable, very, very actionable, great story, great description of all. We are going to give the Reader's Digest version. Not everybody in this group joined the Accelerator, but if you are in the Accelerator, you're going to want to watch this one. This one is very, very good, and probably again and again and again. So one of the first things she said is action is the antidote for despair and the key to success. If I were to go with Einstein, he had a quote that says, nothing happens until something moves. So limiting beliefs, I particularly like this picture because it is basically a ball and chain. And basically, the way we get through it is we negotiate through them through the lens of optional, right? You want to start looking at what options you have to limiting a belief. And she talks about knowing your non-negotiables. So for instance, one of mine is a good night's sleep. And quite simply, I know when I get a good night's sleep, my next day is going to be much, much better than I don't. One of my mentors said, someone on a poor night's sleep turns into a very tall 2-year-old. And I've been guilty of that, crabby and cranky and whiny. Of course, not all 2-year-olds are that way, right? But can I do that with a poor night's sleep? Yeah. Good night's sleep? Hopefully not. So you want to create your non-negotiables for your life, right? And eat, move, sleep are really the big three. Which one's for you? And then ultimately, non-negotiables, you are going to do whatever you're going to do no matter what, and you need some of those for your network marketing business. So, is it inviting? Is it presenting? Is it following up? And I did my little assessment, and follow-up is my weakness. I've got to get better at follow-up. And even being poor, I've done pretty well. So I think that's what's limiting my business. I'll ask you to make a limitation and ultimately really go after it. And I like what Lisa's grandmother told her, your conviction and convenience do not live on the same block. So if you're convicted of something, it doesn't matter the weather. It doesn't matter how you feel. It doesn't matter how yesterday went. It doesn't matter what you've got going on this afternoon. It's non-negotiable. You get it done. And she talked about having the committee in your head, and most of us have a committee of naysayers, and that's why the law of association is very critical. And Maria Worre talked about in the backside of it, right? Get away from negative news in any form. Get away from negative people in negative form. Life has enough downside to it. Let's magnify all the good, and our world really needs that now. Her number 2, she said, understand the power of quitting. And I liked what she said, he go, ego, she go. And so, yeah, you can have a she go, you can have a he go. Ego, I always like the term edging God out is one thing, but she also said all yeses are nos to something else. When you say yes to a small thing, to a low leverage activity, then you say no to a higher leverage activity, and you want to spend time on only the highest return on investment. So literally, that was the summary of a course that I paid $2,000 for. I bought a productivity course by Darren Hardy, editor of Success Magazine. He's got a phenomenally successful enterprise, and he teaches people to be successful. And literally, that was it. That was a $2,000 seminar. Now he broke it out over, 6 sessions. But anyways, $2,000 to basically say, spend only your time on high leverage activities. And by the way, what you're already good at, you don't need to master. So I'm pretty good at inviting and presenting. Follow-up is my weakness. What's yours, right? And if you're not good at presenting, feel free to share a video. Inviting, make it low risk. If I would I've got something I want to share with you. It would take 7 minutes. It would mean the world for me. If I sent it to you, would you watch it? That kind of thing is very, very effective. The most successful people say no to the most things. And she said, New Year's resolutions, that's a good time for new starts. And those are mostly New Year's quits. Isn't that fascinating, right? So you want to lose weight. That's quit eating bad. But it is possibly add exercise. People want to quit smoking. People want to quit bad habits. Why? Because they know those drag them down. So route to rise is number 3. And she repeats herself, and I'll say that more later. Lisa's actually dyslexic, which I find profoundly amazing. Usually means she has a challenge with reading and writing, but she is a superstar speaker. And by the way, that's how dyslexic people succeed. There's a whole book about it. But since they can't read or write, they have to learn to talk to people. The world's most successful trial attorney is dyslexic. So if you have a component of dyslexia, consider it an advantage, because you literally really need to learn to speak to people, and it'll make your whole life better. But here she said, move from optional to negotiable. And I actually put a 1 by limiting behaviors or limiting beliefs, because, that's one of them, having the wrong things that are non-negotiable. Quit low leverage activities, route to rise. And basically, she says that self-esteem is the constant evolution of emotional intelligence, personal stability, and self-confidence. By the way, those are routes to success in network marketing. She then drew a distinction. Self-esteem is how you feel about yourself. Self-confidence is how you feel about your skills. And this was ancient wisdom. I believe it was Lao Tzu that said it thousands of years ago. The need for external validation is a hallmark of instability. We want to be stable. We want to be secure. And if you need external validation for that, you are literally creating problems for yourself. And then a real practical example. She says, a hurricane will blow down a building before it will uproot a tree. We've had 3 hurricanes in the, now it's how many years in Houston, Texas? Came here in 1987. So I've 33 years, 3 hurricanes, and we definitely found that to be true. We didn't lose any trees, but Houston lost a lot of buildings, and Galveston especially. Very, very fascinating. So successful people consistently take consistent actions despite rejection and challenges. And we're going to learn how to actually frame rejection and challenge. And, she actually frames it as failure. But I really like this book by Malcolm Gladwell. He talks about underdogs, misfits, and the art of battling giants. And within that book, he talked about the advantage of disadvantage. And Sir Richard Branson is dyslexic, yet he has over 400 companies and is a billionaire. He learned how to communicate with people. The top trial attorney in the US is dyslexic, and therefore he learned to communicate. Lisa is dyslexic, and guess what, right? She learned the advantage of disadvantage, and then she made the statement that forgiveness is freedom. That's number 4. So very, very simply, if you're holding a grudge, it's amazing how powerful that is in your headspace. And I would recommend eradicating that as quickly as possible. Now, I learned something from Bob Proctor at least 7 years ago, and it was very valuable to me. If you would have a reason to be angry with someone or to hold a grudge, start sending them love immediately. And what I do the first thing every morning is send 3 people love, right? And hopefully I have days where I can't think of anybody that I would be angry about. So then I just send 3 people who I think could use more love. But if I feel like I become angry at somebody, sending them love ultimately solves that. It depends on the grudge. It may not happen in the first day, week, month, or year, but imagine 2 years straight sending that person love. You're probably going to let go of that. And that's pretty fascinating. Here's something that she said that I used a different metaphor. I saw this at an organo convention. So basically, person was given money and they said, okay, I want you to hold on to that as tight as you can. And then they said, okay, you got it. You got it. Can I pry your fingers apart? No, there was no way. Right. They said, well, okay, you just blocked the $10,000, the stack of $100 bills I was going to put in your hand. So you block something when you hold on to something. So hold on to love, hold on to peace, hold on to joy. Those are good things to hold on to. But figuratively, the material stuff, if you can see something better, you've got to start letting go of certain things, and especially things that don't serve you well. Another quote from her: forgiveness is freedom. Your future is relying on you not holding yourself hostage to the past. Forgiveness is not condoning an action, it is allowing for future prosperity. So, you know what? Someone could have done something really wrong. You know it's wrong. They know it's wrong. The world knows it's wrong. But you holding them hostage blocks your future. Forgive them and free up your future. And then I liked her statement. She says, we are all imperfect people and exploring perfect experiences. And I also like this quote: just beyond the horizon of so-called impossible is infinite possibility. So then, she's got her fifth one and repeats again: move from optional to non-negotiable, quit low leverage activities, root to rise, forgive for freedom, fail forward. And I added fast because I always liked fail forward fast. And she said, finding answers in learning is her acronym for failing. And so if you think about that, when you fail, you should learn. John Maxwell has a book entitled Sometimes I Win, Sometimes I Learn. By the way, I'm recommending these books, but one thing they're making clear in Eric Worre: we all know enough to succeed right now. These are 7 basic skills. We just need to master them. And so I like this other acronym too. First attempt in learning is a failure. If you're trying to learn something new, well, guess what? It's probably going to take you more than one chance, especially if you're stretching yourself. That's all right. Take your time, work at it. And then I like this quote from Emerson: all life is an experiment. The more experiments, the better. Everest is quite an experiment, right? My hat's off to Edmund Hillary. I mean, he was dedicated to conquering that peak, and he did it on his 3rd attempt. But notice he failed 2 of them. And another quote: I learned much more from defeat than I ever did from winning. Even Ben Franklin said, that which hurts instructs. So when you get hurt a little bit, learn the lesson. Learn the lesson. And some say the lesson will keep repeating itself until you learn the lesson. So if you did something you could have done better, cool. But keep in mind, in network marketing, it's like baseball. A Hall of Fame batting average is 3 of 10. If you can keep getting 3 of 10, you're going to be a legend. Failure does not equal that you are a failure. And that's very, very important. So one of the things she said is projecting future failures is the top means of personal sabotage, self-sabotage. And by the way, top psychologists say that self-sabotage literally exists in all of us and at all levels. If we get to a level where we're too uncomfortable, where we can't see it just yet, well, then we self-sabotage. And so what I would strongly suggest is going as far as you can see. And then when you see there, you can get farther. So here was her assignment. So someone asked, how can I get past this? And they said, you want to be specific on your non-negotiables. And quite simply, make that your highest leverage network marketing activity. If you haven't identified, do a little soul searching, maybe talk to your plugged in upline and say, hey, where do you think I can succeed most? For a lot of people, it's the invitation. If you give a good invitation and they see something that piques their interest, they'll take the next step. And remember, the goal of the meeting is not the sign up, it's to book the next meeting. So you keep moving along the process. Pique their interest, create a 3-way call, invite to something else, create another 3-way call, invite to something else, right? Book a meeting from a meeting is the strategy there. And she talked about well-developed muscles versus non-well. She used the cartoon Popeye, which, by the way, I really loved as a kid. He would get, Superman strength after eating spinach. And then you got to look at what you need to quit. And so she says, do you need to quit procrastinating? How about shrinking and hiding? How about not taking action? Do you need to quit not taking action? I mean, take action. Do you need to quit blaming? Do you need to quit fear? Do you need to quit bad news? Do you need to quit feeling inferior? I'll say that was one of mine. That's the chicken list, right? When you're a chicken, you're feeling inferior. So I reached up to some people worth hundreds of millions of dollars. And I talked to them, and we all had great conversations. And another good quote: dream big, start small, act now. And I asked Eric Worre, is there too small a start? He said, no way. A victory is a victory, and victories compound. This, by the way, is called the motivation equation. So what's your confidence in what you're doing times your reward? If you have zero confidence, guess what? You're not going to take it. If you have good confidence with a good reward, that's a good number. If you free yourself from distractions, that could only be 1 hour a day of locking yourself in a room with no distractions till you get it done. And then do it now, right? If you do it now, there's no delay. And that means there's infinite probability of success. So that, by the way, was a prize-winning equation of both motivation and procrastination. 3, root to rise. Great metaphor here for network marketing. If this tree had a root like that, it'd blow over. If this tree had a root like that, it would blow over. But this tree has roots like this, wide and deep. And that is how we want to build our network marketing business. By the way, we were told in our first 6 months of network marketing, basically work exclusively on wide. You wanted to go 20-20, 40 wide, 20 left, 20 right. And yeah, you do want to alternate them, because ultimately a balanced team is where you want to go. So if you're not 40 wide, you might consider working on that. Eric Worre gave one person a challenge to sponsor 10 this week, and I believe he equipped her to do it. And she also said, you need to work on self-esteem or self-confidence. Self-esteem it trumps self-confidence. You've got to feel really good about yourself. Then you'll feel good about your ability to master these skills. Then master them one at a time. Then go wide. So again, forgive to freedom. So it definitely frees up space in your mind. We definitely want to do that. Fail forward fast and get answers when you do fail. Sometimes I win, sometimes I learn. True breakthrough is not a new realization or awareness. You've got to actually have the breakthrough. You've got to take the action. You've got to get the wins. And here's what she said to do, right? You want to basically, 3 ingredients to the breakthrough. There's irritation, which is basically the conflict between desire and doubt. And remember, it's uncomfortable to get out of your comfort zone. So that's irritation. The declaration, I will, or I am. I will become a great inviter. I will become a great presenter. I will become great at following up. I will become great at overcoming objections. I will become great at closing. I will become great at promoting events. All of those things are powerful skills. And then finally, action. You've got to take the action. And I like what she said, our current capacity has created our current reality. So look around at what you've got: mental, physical, emotional, spiritual, social, financial, impactful. We can grow in every one of those areas in organo, and very, very powerful there. And personal development is unlearning the learning, really, more than anything. So you've got to get rid of your negative beliefs. She says that is the most important part of personal development. And as you know more, you will do more. When you feel pushback, it's actually normal, right, to have fear, uncertainty, and doubt. Our brains are wired to avoid pain, so we are wired to avoid pain. If you feel fear, uncertainty, or doubt, I heard the quote, fear's favorite food is time, so do it now. Literally do it now. Not now, but right now. Do it now. And Lisa says this: I want to introduce you to the woman or man that you are becoming. Right? So pick your ideal future. Dream boards are very, very good for that. And the way you make rejection very, very helpful is when you learn from it. So take the time to learn, possibly decompress again with your plugged in upline, because that's what we're here to do. We're here to help you to get better. And by the way, she said she's in it for the long haul. She's not here to be a flash in the pan. She's doing the marathon of life. So she's taking her vitamins and training, right? So nutrition and training. I hope she's sleeping good in there as well. And here's what she said: 98% of people die without having their dreams fulfilled. Let's be in the 2% that have them. And fear of change may be the biggest fear. Baby steps are the key. So I'm going to stop that right now. And I want to see if anybody has questions with that. And part of what made this so valuable was Eric Worre's Friday task, by the way. And I definitely want to go over that as well, because there are some people, good for you, that are on here that are not in the challenge, and good for you if you are getting an extra dose. Several of you have already messaged me and said, thank you, thank you, thank you. This was the best investment in myself that I have ever made. So we have people that have already made significant breakthroughs. But Worre talked about that. Listen, we're basically 3 weeks in to a 10-month program or 12-month program. If you have not made a significant breakthrough yet, you're in 3 weeks, 3 weeks of 10 months, which is 40-something weeks. So cut yourself a little slack, and let's see what we can do about getting better, stronger, faster, smarter. So any questions about anything at all? Questions or possibly comments?
There are tons of comments in the chat, Dr. Bob, with people loving Lisa. They're loving the recap and they're thanking you for the Reader's Digest. Dr. Paul is saying, until you create space, it will pass you by. I don't know if you wanted to expand on that, Dr. Paul. I don't know which point you're speaking to about that. Was that holding on to grudges? And
no, you know what? Sometimes we create overwhelm. That hit hard with when she said that. And I'm in a bit of overwhelm right now, and I just need to prioritize and say no to a few things. I think it was what Warren Buffett said: put your top 25 items down that you want to accomplish this year, and then only pick 5 and focus on those 5. So just hitting home. I did want to say one thing. There's one quote I really love: willingness to fail is the readiness to fly, which I really like that one.
You know what? I felt like I typed that in, but maybe I didn't, because I really loved it too. Leap and the net will appear is another statement there. I do know that Diane was on Friday and today, or possibly the replay on Friday. Could have been a family day. I'm not sure, but I know she does it. So Diane, any takeaways? I'm actually going to do Eric's summary next.
I think Eric's summary is very key. I did a Motivation Monday today, and I was like, guys, that Friday, that was, the one thing I know is if you do what Eric Worre says, look out. And sometimes you're not always ready to do what he says, but for those of you that are like, I am done, it is well worth just taking the leap of faith. I know I've done it many, many times. I still plan to continue to do it. And just breathe through the process. Dr. Bob, today I still have to catch the replay. That's life, but that's what I love, is that we have that replay to be able to do that. So, I was just preparing a presentation. I got an 8:30. We're launching with someone in Karen's team tonight. And that's what it's all about. What does your calendar say? Because as much as we're working on the mindset, which is so important, what's the activity? Because then you're just part of a club. And I hate to call it tight, but it's true, right? You can come on all the calls and they're all fantastic. But when are you going to start taking action, real action, consistent action? And that's where I've always loved the saying that we've heard for years, Dr. Bob, your calendar is your best indicator of your income. I've got a calendar open in front of me. I jotted all down. What's happening this week? Are there any presentations? Am I doing any speaking gigs? Are there any 3-minute calls? Am I following up with anybody? Who's new? Who's a prospect? Who in the team? It's taking inventory every week and planting new seeds and helping people move along the way as well. Whether it's one person in your organization or no one, it starts with you first, but then it starts to duplicate it. And that's what it's really about. It's doing the activity portion as well. And that's where the secret sauce lies. So let's stick to the culture. Let's plug into the calls. Guys, if you're here, congratulations for being here tonight. You want something. So that starts here. Who on your team is not here? because they should be here. And if they're not, what part of you needs to be a better inviter, even for your own team? It starts there, right? Events will build your business faster than anything else as you get better. And if there's one little hack I learned about this industry from Eric Worre, you want to rise to the top fast, you have to get your organization, your team, new, old, young, doesn't matter how long they've been around, you got to get them plugged in, because if they're plugged in, they can start moving forward as we're learning all these wonderful golden pearls of life, right? We got to let go of things that don't serve us and start saying no more often, because I'm guilty of it. I say yes way too much. It actually, it makes me exhausted. And, you know, Dr. Bob's been a great example of always nudging me saying, no, carve it out, cut it off at 8, go take a nap, give yourself permission. So, you know, we're all going through that. So thank you, Dr. Bob, always holding the space as usual. And yes, let's talk about those 4 to 5 challenges that a lot of people are going, oh my gosh. And I'm seeing some people in the team that are starting to run with it. I will catch up. Trust me. Getting there, but they're
yes, you will. That, you know what, that's what you do. I admire you, and I think I speak for every one of us. You get it done. When your mind is set, it's done. It's just done. So congratulations on that. I will go to Eric Worre's now because it's so powerful. And you know, pick your thing very, very simply. Review this. This is recorded. It's in Organo. I'm going to put it on YouTube as well. Share it with your team and invite them to the next one. So, you know, imagine if you had 300 team members at GoPro. How would your 2021 be? And by the way, we had a record December by, I think, 170,000 over last December. So that's not a bad gain for 1 month, you know, and that's the result of having 300 people at GoPro. So set your goals, start that promoting now, but let's start promoting this Accelerator challenge as well. People need to plug in, and this is a good way to do it. And now we're going to go with coaching from Eric Worre. So and whoop, go my share screen. All right, so Eric simply said, you must win the mental game first. And that's why he put it first, right? So confidence, fears, limiting beliefs, and then massive action, because massive action wraps it all up. And, you know, Eric does such a good job with this, and I can totally relate to this. Eric would watch people get awards, and he was, you know, asking himself, you know, when someone would go diamond, he would say, you know, what's wrong with me? Why am I not going diamond? What's wrong with me? And I was guilty of that. I saw all these people getting diamond awards. I mean, one person went diamond in 29 days. He had a great story. I don't know, it took me 40 months. So, you know, you asked that question. And by the way, I didn't work it the first 8 months, so 32 months of working it, but you know, that's a long time, but that's what it took. So I heard this story, and I had a chance to talk to Maria Nava in person. She was basically a cleaning service person for the Hilton hotel chain in Chicago. And she heard about the Organo opportunity, and she was familiar with, you know, with network marketing. And she reached out to Holton Boggs, and he said, look, you can go diamond, but here's how you do it. And, you know, he basically told her to try to pack in as close to 1,000 mixers as fast as she possibly could. Now, she didn't have to do 1,000 herself, but she was doing 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 a day, presenting the opportunity. And then as soon as she got somebody, she'd say, look, this is how it's working for me. Do 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 a day. And she had a full-time job. She went diamond in 4 months, 4 months. And then, you know, I asked her, okay, cool. So what was the key to that? She said, I made a decision and I stuck with it. So that was in Orlando, Florida, I think, whatever, 5 years ago. And so I went back to the hotel room and I said to Kelly, I said, listen, let me tell you about my talk with Maria Nava. She went diamond in 4 months. She made a decision. And so Kelly said, well, I thought we made a decision. I said, well, clearly we didn't. And Kelly said, okay, we're going to make a decision. We're going diamond this week. Follow up with everybody. So it was the 23rd of the month, or I think it was a 31-day month. So we walked in to the convention at 120,000. Within 5 days, we were at 200,000. By the way, our previous high was 163. And then with 8 days, we were at 248,000. So we didn't stop. We followed up for 8 solid days. And that's the power of making a decision. Eric said his biggest fear was that he was not enough. And he actually used rejection as fuel. So when this guy, his chickenless guy, said, Eric, you're going to be out of this in 90 days. So he had a time clock. He was going to prove that he wasn't out of it in 90 days. He was going to be successful in 90 days. Well, he was still in at 90 days. And his goal ultimately was to prove this, NFL pro linebacker for the Minnesota Vikings wrong. And so then however many years later, they were at a wedding together. Eric had his first $1 million year and was earning more as a network marketer than this guy was as a professional football player. Pretty powerful there. And he just said he became addicted to proving people wrong. Not my fuel, his fuel. He likes it. I'd rather not even subject myself to that negativity. So there's 3 types of people that you can basically listen to. Someone who's never tried, someone who's tried and failed, someone who's tried and succeeded. This was a real paradigm shifter for me. The people that never tried or tried and failed were the people who were negative on network marketing. The people who tried and succeeded said, oh my gosh, everybody should do this. Whatever the time frame to learn the skills, it's worth it. So then Eric's biggest paradigm shift, the person with the marker makes the money. So he said, okay, I'm going to learn to hold the marker. I'm going to listen to the top recording of the top speaker on the opportunity meeting. I'm going to listen to it word for word every single time. I'm going to repeat it exactly. I'm going to repeat the exact same jokes. And by the way, some presenters do use the exact same jokes every time. Hey, if it's working, why change, right? The presentation is both training for your team. And by the way, there's 3 purposes of a presentation. Responsor your existing team, including yourself, train your existing team, and then get new business. And so we can hopefully always responsor if we share all the good in Organo. We can always train if we do it in a good way. And we can then try to get new business. So he asked the question, how much of your fear is pride and ego? I like the acronym edging God out. That's what ego is. You know what? We should get credit for about nothing, really, right? Our existence is based on, I believe, a much higher power. And then he says, how much of your fear is faulty programming? That's going to be it. So Lisa Nichols is talking about faulty programming and ego both. Einstein's equation, ego equals 1 over knowledge. The higher your knowledge, the lower your ego, because you come to realize that this is a really magnificent place, that we are wonderfully made, and we have limitless potential. The book, The Big Leap, I really like this. I think Dr. Paul also read it, but it says each of us has an inner thermostat setting, determines how much love, success, and creativity we allow ourselves to enjoy. How about as much of every good thing? We do have an upper limit. And then I do like the metaphor, imagine you had your favorite dessert. Well, how would you feel after you ate 20 servings of it at once, right? Not so good. So, you want to get the right amount of everything all the time and basically just stretch that comfort zone in areas that you want to grow. And Eric Worre's method, I am deserving, I am worthy, I am capable. Both of these are plastered on my bathroom mirror. So I look up and saying, yeah, I have an upper limit. If I want to make that big leap, I do need to know that I'm deserving of the next level. I'm worthy of the next level. I'm capable of the next level. And if you're not at the next level, guess what? You're missing something there. But as you grow that capability, deserve and worth, you're going to get there. And then Grant Cardone, he says he's really excited about Grant Cardone because he took on a phenomenal challenge called Undercover Billionaire. If you know Grant Cardone, you don't recognize him. Thick glasses, basically shaved head. And Grant Cardone had to go to a town with no contacts and $100 and build $1 million business in 90 days. And he did it. So here's the deal. The first million is the hardest. By the time you're at $1 million ought to be a pretty nice 90-day project. So I don't know that any of us are there yet, but how fun that we can get a 90-day project and do something very unbelievable. So whatever's unbelievable for you in 90 days, maybe it's recruit 10 and get those 10 actually doing something. And who knows, you might have to recruit 30 to get 10 doing something, right? I don't know. But at either rate, let's figure out what it is for you. And basically, you need to see a big enough reward. So, none of us are afraid to walk across a 12-inch wide plank, 20 feet long on the ground. But what if we put it between two buildings? That's plenty fearful. And then walking into fire. Well, why would you do that? To save a loved one, right? We got Fire Captain Brian that does that. Maybe not the plank, but regularly, right? Going into burning buildings, supreme courage there. And keep in mind, initially, he had to build the courage to invite somebody. He had to build the courage to present. Those weren't automatic, but with that kind of track record, you can build that courage. Joseph Campbell's quote, "The cave you fear to enter holds the treasure you seek." Whatever you're afraid of, there's a big reward behind it. Conquering that fear definitely makes you better, stronger, faster, smarter. So I like this quote from Eric: "With these skills, you can earn more than a neurosurgeon." I know, because I earn more than a neurosurgeon right now in my sleep, and I'm not cutting into anybody's head or risking their life. Finding prospects, inviting, presenting, follow-up. Transfer belief is like starting strong or duplication. Transfer belief is overcoming objections. Starting strong is duplication. Promoting events, that's the biggest skill. And that's really how Diane built a diamond ship. First she did the big events, then she put together a series. She not only promoted the event, but she created the event, a whole bunch of them, like 9 of them on her diamond run. It's a good formula. If you want to start going diamond, make big organo events and promote them. And the payoff is fame, fortune, and happiness, according to Eric. Fame probably in a small circle, maybe even a bigger circle, but certainly within the company. I like this study. Basically, an art teacher, gave pottery students an assignment. He put them in 2 groups. One group said, "I want you to spend the whole semester working on one piece of pottery." The other group, "You must make 50 pounds of clay to get an A." Well, the best pottery was in the repetition group. So they weren't so good on their first piece and maybe a little better on the second. You compound that 50 times, they literally made works of art. And that's kind of like inviting, right? So this woman was afraid of inviting or her live on Facebook. So he said 100 Facebook lives in 10 days for at least, for 7 days for at least 10 minutes. My brain is faster than my mind. I read the 7 and 10. So then basically go and share a live then about what you're learning in the process as well. So pretty fascinating there. So 100 Facebook lives in 7 days. Do the math. That's 15 a day and 16 a day most days, right? So that's quite a few. So I would probably do 20 a day and make sure I had it done in 5 and then stretch it out another 2 and do 140. So if you like that one, start now. And I'll tell you what, he's really speeding the learning curve. I've done a lot of Facebook Lives. Hopefully they've gotten better as they've gone. None of them are perfect, right? There's always room to improve. But I can tell you, I was a lot better after 100 than I was at 0. This guy's on TikTok having problems. So Eric said, okay, 100 TikTok posts in 7 days, document the journey for the rest of us. Sue had fear of failure. And she said, I could get customers, but no distributors. So he said, recruit 10 people in the next 7 days. So you know what? If you've got a customer base of several hundred in Organo, or heck, even 10, go back to them and say, you can be a retail customer, you can be a wholesale buyer, you could get paid to consumer share the product. Which one of those appeals to you most? I think we're going to get more, really, I could get paid questions now. He did tell her to connect with people in your company that you respect and create accountability. Notice he didn't say necessarily create with your upline. That's fascinating, right? So there are people that have an upline that is inactive. So kind of hard to connect with those people. This guy, Daniel, fantastic, recruited 400 people in 12 years. That makes him a super recruiter. But he says he has 0 strong leaders. So Eric said, reach out to everybody that you've recruited and work towards duplication. Kelly and I have recruited 450. That includes a fair amount of customers, wholesale customers. But I definitely want to reach out to people and say, look, you know, I'm learning more about helping people to succeed in this business. Do you want to sit down and have a conversation? And I've already had half a dozen good conversations since that challenge, and scheduled more today. So 2 are scheduled for tomorrow, and hopefully before the end of the night, I'll schedule more as well. And I schedule some the day of. So hopefully I'm scheduling plenty each day. But keep in mind, one significant leg of business can make a significant difference in your business. If you've been a good recruiter, and there's some super recruiters, actually many super recruiters on this, or probably watching the replay too, that is a strategy that you may want to employ. This person said fear of talking to people about the business, people that she knows well. So guess what? Just reach out to people that you know well and ask them, I'd really like to tell you my story. Can I tell you my story? Now, then if you go with the Pete Vargas story, heart opening, right? 5 years ago, I was having extreme challenges. You know, I was on the verge of having my home and car possessed. I'm making this one up. That wasn't my story, right? I had a fear of death. And then not being able to take care of my family. And that was a heck of a fear. Bad week, but great result because I really dove into building Organo. But with that said, you know, whatever your challenge is, tell the heart opening story, give a few facts. So I'm partnered with multiple multimillionaires. They're teaching me how to get rich, and it's quite working. I'm liking the changes a lot, and I'm starting to make some money in my own business, which I never thought I could run. I didn't think I could run my own business. And it involves something that people really need today. It would take 7 minutes to watch an overview of that. Would it be okay if I sent you a quick video? And I'd love your feedback and your critique. So that is a way to reach out to anybody, really. Start with your story, heartwarming story. By the way, don't beat around the bush. You know, if you call someone you hadn't called in 20 years that they were a super close friend, listen, here's why I thought of you. I was thinking about the super smart people that I know and love, and you're on that list. And one of my mentors gave me an assignment to tell my story. Could you take 3 minutes and listen to my story and then tell your story? Don't beat around the bush, right? Hi, how are you? How are the kids? You know, if you haven't talked to them in 20 years, get right to it. This person was fear of rejection. Eric actually rephrased it. He said, okay, get rejected 100 times in the next 7 days. And then he said, okay, well, the goal really isn't rejection, it's education and understanding. So create education and understanding. Again, heart opening, facts, call to action, heart closing. I would really love it if you'd watch this 7-minute presentation. Fear of recruiting. Expand list from 7 to 20. She was brand new. Get coaching, create support and accountability team, especially the high level people. Play to their ego. Tell them, look, I know this business isn't for you, but since you're influential, you know people, reach out to 20 influencers in the next 7 days. That's a really good idea. And then if you're in the Eric Worre's group, post your fear on the Facebook page. I did that. And your post is in our Accelerator group. And if you're not in our Accelerator group, join our Accelerator group because you can post your fear, and I'd like you to do that. that's real good accountability. And Eric Worre made an observation, by the way, when he started. So his was Friday the 16th. He says it's only the 16th of January and our live numbers have already dropped off substantially. Some people can't rearrange their Friday. That's always a possibility. That's the good thing about the replay. But I did rearrange my Friday. You know, since I'm the sole doctor in my clinic, I am seeing patients 5 days a week. You know, that feels good to have that demand. And by the way, my clinic is outreach. Everybody gets a recommendation of Ganoderma, everybody who walks in the door. So does it serve that purpose? It does. So, all right, questions about anything? Who's up for posting? If you're not in the Accelerator group, please write your name and one of us can add you. If you are, then post your fear challenge. Of the people I see, I feel like I'm seeing blank stares mostly. Andrew, what's yours? You look excited.
Hey, Dr. Bob. Thank you for obviously doing this. I did have a question about what you just said about the influencers, reaching out to 20 influencers the next 7 days.
Yep.
And, you know, playing to their egos. You know, hey, I know this business isn't for you. How did you end it?
Well, let's go with how we started, right? Andrew, I've always respected you. I've admired your style. You know, if that's one thing I think I could benefit from is, you know, someone with your image, someone with your pizzazz, someone with your togetherness. I've got something I want to share with you. And by the way, right, let's just get it off the table right now. I know it's not for you. You are so profoundly successful. It wouldn't be for you now, but the reason I'm connecting with you is because you are an influencer. You know a lot of people. I know a lot of people need help. You know, can I share with you over the course of 7 minutes what I'm really excited about and see if you could make a recommendation or two for someone that you think I could connect with?
Perfect.
Okay.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Bert, you're not in the Accelerator group. All right, we'll fix that. We'll fix that now.
I will be now.
Yeah, beautiful, beautiful, beautiful. So let's see. Messenger. Is it called GoPro Accelerator? I think I literally just typed in generic accelerator.
I believe it is Dr. Bob. Let me double check.
Maybe Eric Worre Accelerator. You'd be surprised how many accelerator groups are in. I was going to page down messages, but I've had so many messages. Do you see it?
I do not at the moment, Dr. Bob. My messenger thread is.
I hope it's good and productive messenger threads.
It is. I did some of the TikTok challenge, and TikTok is a whole new beast. It's a whole new beast, but up for the challenge.
Beautiful. Yeah, for some people, I use this to reach out to people, like apparently 100 already. This is amazing.
So Fen Rose just put the link in the chat, Dr. Bob.
In the chat.
Yes.
Okay.
And Captain Casey saying the group name is GoPro 2021 Accelerator Group. That's for Eric's GoPro. Okay, thanks for the clarification, Fen Rose. Karen, for the question for the Accelerator group program, so for those people that are doing the Accelerator group coaching with Eric, that's a private Facebook group. So that one, no, but I do believe that there is the group chat that we're going to get everyone added to.
Can she type literally a message in the GoPro Accelerator group so it comes to my top, please.
Did you hear that, Fenrose?
Just type hi, or here it is, or Penny to the rescue.
Okay, I just found it. Okay, so I just found it, and
Here it is.
there you go.
Oh, you know what? There's icons in the title. And in fact, it says Canada GoPro is the Canadian flag is the first character. So that's probably why I didn't find it. So
That may have been why, with all the emojis, the rocket, and the heart. That would have messed me up as well. It did.
okay, so do I need to go to the home page of that to add Burke Mays? Or do I just type in @Burke Mays?
I don't know if you can just, you have to click, if you're on your computer, you do need to click to see the members, and then you can add. I don't know if I have Dr. Burke on Facebook as a friend, so I'm not able to add him.
Plus, let's see. Is it part of the plus sign menu?
Are you on your cell phone, Dr. Bob, or laptop?
Okay, I can be on, I'm on my laptop. I didn't see what I was looking for, but I can be on my cell phone. And it's easier from the cell phone?
It is, yes.
Kind of fascinating how that works. Okay.
Okay.
There we have it.
So once you're on it on your cell phone, once you click the group name, you should see the add icon right there. Okay, so we're getting everyone.
I do see it.
Perfect. So we're getting everyone added, and then I believe Jennifer had a question about Clubhouse. Not sure what the question was, Jennifer. Is it that you want to know if anybody here was on Clubhouse that had an invite, or?
Okay, this is fascinating. It only allows me to add people from Canada. All my BURs are Canada friends, and it didn't allow me to add Burke Mays.
That's interesting.
So I wonder if we can change that.
I like Canada. I can go there.
Yeah, you know what? Maybe send a Burke Mays is BURKE Mays. I don't think there's many Burkes. There may be more Joshua Campbells. So can you request Burke as a friend?
I found him, and there are tons of Joshua Campbells. Good luck finding me in the other pages.
You know that I found that fascinating when I was looking for you. It's like, oh my, there's a few.
There is fun story. When I used to go into banks, the teller would say, "Oh, well, let's get a few additional details to see who you are." And I was like, "I'll give you my middle name. We got this sorted." So I don't see any other questions in the chat. Gladys, I don't know your last name. Your mic is muted.
Rodriguez.
Gladys Rodriguez.
Yes. Thank you.
You're welcome. I don't know if I'm finding you, Gladys.
I'm going to go to the, I thought of something that I thought would be very, very valuable in terms of promoting Ganoderma. And I created a video with Zoom, a YouTube on it. And basically, there have been a lot of vaccine reactions to COVID-19. So what I did is I basically did a PubMed on Ganoderma and vaccines. It turns out that Ganoderma is such a good immune enhancer that it enhances the immune response to the vaccine. So that's a very good thing. And it also protects against toxic side effects of some of the worst toxins on the planet. Now, it wasn't studied against vaccines, but if you look at 4 of my favorites, MPTP, which causes Parkinson's in a single dose, Ganoderma protects against that. Carbon tetrachloride, which can lead to liver failure in a single dose, Ganoderma protects against that. STZ is a chemotherapy that was previously used for pancreatic cancer, but previously they stopped doing it because it caused type 1 diabetes by causing destruction of the cells of the pancreas to make insulin. And then a major toxin that was known to cause neural tube defects. This was a mouse study. It would actually cause severe birth defects. The animal was either born dead or paralyzed 80% of the time with this toxin, but with a single dose of Ganoderma, it knocked it down to 20%. So I think if people saw that, what I'm recommending is basically 2 spores every waking hour for 3 days before the vaccine. And then you optimize the probability of a benefit and minimize the probability of a problem. And by the way, once they learn that Ganoderma is good, you can have another conversation. You can be a retail customer, you can be a wholesale buyer, you could get paid. And by the way, you'll save money on your right away on your first bottle of spores. So good thoughts there. And by the way, they probably want spores for family members if they're of the vaccine type. So I put that's a YouTube link. That was my comment to everybody. I would encourage you, if it's within your thought process, to share that. I think there's a lot of people that want to know. This is pretty important. I also, by the way, cover that it has 430 unique molecules, 79 of which are anti-infective, and it's even proven against the HIV virus. So with the PubMed given there. So you think about that. If it can block replication of HIV, that's about as bad a virus as we've ever seen. Jennifer, did you have something you wanted to say?
May I share your YouTube and then the VIP link you write down, like about vaccine and spore, how to take blah, 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 to my medical group. I have the medical group, private group, and also on my page and group and the open group. And
share it everywhere.
Page. Yeah, okay, publicly. Great. And on my YouTube too. Thank you.
So by the way, the reason I got that idea is someone has a medical doctor that's giving the COVID vaccine, and they thought, oh my gosh, wouldn't it be nice if they could protect their patients from COVID-19, right? So a medical doctor is perfect for either protect from the virus and the vaccine if they choose the vaccine. So definitely a better immune system is a real good choice in this environment. Okay. Well, that seems to wrap it up. I always like everybody turning their camera on and waving if you're up for it. I am literally a people person. I like to see faces. Maybe some people are in positions where they can't do that, but
thank you, Dr. Bob.
Thank you, Dr. Bob.
Thank you,
Dr. Bob.
Have a good night.
Thank you, Dr. Bob.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Josh.
Bye.
Thanks, Dr. Bob.